Hello, so my name is Lily and May was a bad reading month. It was bad. It wasn't good. Just right off the bat, want to tell you, not, no. I'm upset. I'm very upset about it. That's not what I usually say. Hello, so my name is Lily and today I'm going to be telling you about all the books that I read in May. I haven't even counted how many books I read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I read 5 books in May. You know, perfectly respectable number of books. Of course, that's more than a book a week. But I usually read like 2 books a week. I usually read like 8, 9 books. So this was just, and it wasn't that I wasn't reading, because I was. Oh, but the books were bad, and so I just DNFed like a lot. We're gonna talk about it. First up, I read Road 7 by Keith Rosson. This is about this PhD student, or he's like working on his PhD, he's like 30. Does it feel odd to say PhD student when he's like 30? I don't know the jargon. And he is stalling, he's stuck. I think his name is Brian, and he gets contacted, or he applies for this position to be the assistant to this zoologist named Mark Sandoval, and accompany him on his mission to find a unicorn on an island off the coast of Iceland. And that's what it is. And I actually listened to this on audio. Oh shoot. I started doing this thing last month where I tell you the name of the audiobook narrator, and I forgot to write them down. This audiobook was narrated by Charlie Thurston. Is this uneven? Uncentered would be the word. What else? What is there to say? Keith Rosson wrote one of my favorite books of last year, Fever House, and I've kind of been trying to get through his backlist to see if I can like call him a favorite author or if Fever House was a fluke. It's looking like it was a fluke. The more I read from him, it's hard. It's hard. And his next thing coming out is, it might be out already, but it's like vampires, and I don't care about vampires, so I don't know. I feel like I'm failing with Keith Rosson. But I give this 3.5 stars. I'm gonna keep it because I like the cover. I like the shape of the book. It's like very wide and thin, and I think that's fun. And I don't know, I like his writing, but like, do I? I like his writing. The way his plots progress are not always my favorite. Some of his characters kind of all read a little bit the same, because he's writing these like 30-year-old white male main characters in all of his books. And so that gets a little old, but I think, I don't know, I like the way he does characterization, even if they kind of are all the same guy. I'm remembering Mark Sandoval, and I really liked his character. There was a twist, kind of a reveal about Mark Sandoval that I didn't love. I feel like I am just digging myself into a hole. That's not the metaphor that I want to use. I feel like I am like scrabbling at the walls when I'm trying to read Keith Rosson's books, because I loved Fever House. I love Fever House. And everything else has been like, and I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I guess it wasn't him. I guess it was the combination of zombies and music in one book. That was probably it. And I'm latching on to Keith here, because I'm like, he wrote this book was so good and he wrote it, so all of his other books must be good. It wasn't bad. It was fine. 3.5. Okay, fine start to the month. It'll only get worse. Don't you worry. Oh, I forgot about this. Okay, it gets better before it gets worse. Next, I listened to the audiobook of We Could Be Rats by Emily Austin. This was narrated by Candace Thaxton. And I really like this. I gave it 4 stars. I wish I wrote notes on it, because I didn't, and now I actually really don't remember my thoughts on it. This was a long month. A long month. Okay, my brain has been elsewhere. What is this about? This is about our main character named Enid? Ingrid? Sigrid. Kind of all the same names, but it's okay. Sigrid, our main character is, the whole book is told in her suicide notes. She's trying to write her suicide note, and she keeps like failing, and she'll be like, you know, I'm not a good writer, so like maybe she's like talking to her sister. What's her sister's name? Can I remember a single thing about this book? Margit. Okay, Margit, sure. She's like, Margit, I'm sorry, you know I'm not a writer, can you polish this up, fix my mistakes, whatever. And it's mostly just telling stories about her childhood and her life and reflecting on those things and her family and her upbringing. That's the book, really. Some things happen, but that's like spoilers, I guess. And I liked it. It was 4 stars. I think out of all of the Emily Austen I've read, which is now all of them. I've read all of them. Okay, I do think it's my least favorite of all of them. I think it goes Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, Interesting Fact About Space, We Could Be Rats, which I feel like that's what people have been saying. Like, people have not been liking We Could Be Rats, and I did like it. I gave it 4 stars. Just not as much as her other books, and that's okay. You know what? That's fine. I'll take what I can get. Next, okay, so no, actually, let's talk. I listened to both of those books on audio, and that whole time I was trying to read these 2 books physically. At the end of last month, I said that I had started this and that I would be finishing it this month. I didn't. I'm on page 62. So, not great. And then Rat Bohemia by Sarah Schulman, I'm on page 85. A little better. This one is, okay, okay, let me talk chronologically. I was trying to read these for a video that I was planning, where I was reading books that I found at a thrift store. I haven't posted a video in a month, if you haven't noticed, because there were these books were bad. And I haven't finished them. No, actually, okay, can I speak? This is about a kid in the 90s named, is his name also Brian? And he's like a punk kid, and he goes to a Catholic school, and he's in love with his best friend, but he also like hates women, and is trying to live his life as a teenager, and just like okay, I can't even, maybe I don't know if that vlog is ever gonna go up if I don't finish this book, if I ever finish this book. Like, we'll see, but like, I just can't. Bad. Sometimes I struggle to differentiate between whether or not I didn't like something and whether something is objectively bad. Can something be objectively bad? This can. This is. And I wish I liked it. I love the cover. I like the premise. Like, whatever. I guess, I don't know. I don't even know. Okay. So I was stalling with this. I was like, okay, I'll just try to read the next book for the video. No, you won't. No, I won't. Rat Bohemia by Sarah Schulman is about, the first part was a lesbian in the 80s, in the midst of the AIDS crisis, living in New York City and living her life. And then the second part was following her best friend, one of her friends, a gay man. And I don't know if the next parts are gonna follow different people, but this I think is good. I just was not, I don't think I was reading it correctly. I think the chapters are very short, and I would read like 1 chapter a night. I'd be reading 5 pages in a sitting. So I think I just need to, I don't think I was in the mood for it, but I have a feeling that this like could be really good. I think it is good. I just think I was doing it a disservice by the time that I was reading it. I don't know, because I didn't want to be reading it even though it was good and I liked it. Did I like it if I didn't want to be reading it? I don't know. This one I want to finish, that one I don't. Also, another reason that I was struggling so much with those is because all I wanted was to read Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. And I did. If you don't know, I love books about music. And this is a book about music. So Deep Cuts is about Percy and Joe. They go to college and they meet each other and they're immediately super drawn to each other. He's a singer and a songwriter and she's just a music lover, and they start collaborating on his songs, following his career and how they're always kind of like orbiting each other. I think this needed to be longer. I think this needed to follow their entire lives. Just the ending and the timelines that it chose to follow was, I didn't really love that choice. It's less than 300 pages, which I think is crazy. It's 270 pages. That's so dumb. Sorry, that's so mean. But like, I don't think that's right. I don't think it should have been that. Also, you're not following Percy and Joe, you're following Percy. And Joe is like there sometimes. And I'm not saying I don't think like this needed to be dual perspective. I would have liked it better if it was, but I don't think the story was like trying to, for what it was trying to do, I don't think it needed to do that. I think it, you know, like it did what it needed to do to tell the story the author wanted to tell, which is fine. It's not the story that would have been perfect for me. Like I just think it needed to be longer. I wanted more. It felt maybe sparse in their interactions, like throughout the years. Yeah, we skipped like years at a time, and I didn't like it was like, for the next 5 years, or since the 5 years since I'd seen Joe, I had gotten this new job. And I was like, 5 years? What are we talking about? What? I also think the romantic tension between them broke too early. The tension broke like halfway through the book, and considering how many years span after that, and then what happens at the end, it was just like, really? Like, they're getting together now? It just wasn't, I don't think it was good in that aspect. Did I say what I rated this? This sounds like I'm bashing it. I gave it 4 stars, okay? I liked it. And really, only because I like books about music. Like, besides that, it wasn't anything crazy good. Again, the sound really sounds like I hated it. I didn't. 4 stars, okay? Despite the fact that he wrote a song about 9/11, okay? Like, I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, that didn't bring the rating down for me. That's commitment, okay? I like this book. And that is also something that I don't understand. I guess I kind of understand, but why books about music, about celebrities, musicians, singers, the books that span long periods of time, the Lightning Bottles, I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six, but Daisy Jones and the Six are all about the past. Like, they all take place in the past. This starts in 1999, I think. The Lightning Bottles, there's a present day timeline, but there's a past timeline. And like, why is it? Because like music today is still changing, and there's no way to tell like what the musical landscape is going to look like to predict how it's going to end up if you're telling this long spanning story. But I think that could be so cool to try to like to make up, because like these, when the people in these books become big celebrities and become like very acclaimed singers, musicians, whatever, like they're changing the musical landscape of the past, changing, rewriting, you know, adding, editing, whatever, adapting to their story. And I don't know, like, why don't people do that for the future? Like, why don't they say, yeah, it's 2025 and I'm gonna be famous, and in 2045 here I am, here's my story, here's what happened, here's how these things progressed. Like, I don't, like, you can still be a character in the future looking back at the past, but it doesn't have to be our past. You know what I mean? It just gets a little like, and of course this is because I was not alive when a lot of the formative moments of this book are happening, and so I don't understand the musical references. I don't, and that's fine. I liked it, okay? But I just think it'd be interesting to like have books about music set in the future, or like be present day. No one's writing a present day music book. Maybe they are, I don't know. I definitely have a lot of my TBR still, but it's just interesting. Like Lo-Fi by Liz Riggs, which I believe I gave 5 stars. This doesn't span a lot of time. It spans like a year, maybe less, maybe, I don't know. But it takes place in 2010. It's like, okay, so this is like the one that's different. Like, it's not about some super famous person looking back, reflecting on their past, whatever. It's about a normal person finding themselves and making sense of their life through music. Incredible. But it takes place in 2010. Which is fine. Like, it was a really good book, but why can't it take place now? It's just interesting. Like, it's not a complaint, it's just a question. Just why, you know? So I gave this 4 stars. Next, I DNF'd a few audiobooks. I don't usually talk about the books I DNF because I don't DNF that much. Usually if I'm gonna DNF something, I can tell by like the first or second chapter, or by the time I'm like, okay, I'm not enjoying this, I'm like over halfway through and I'm like, well, I've already committed this much time, I might as well finish it. not in, well, kind of in a completionist way, in like a I want to hit my reading goal way, like a little bit, but also just like it feels better to have wasted my time and accomplished something than just wasted my time, you know. Like sometimes. And then also there's always in the back of my head like, but what if the ending is crazy? What if it's so good? Like what if it recontextualizes the whole thing and it's amazing? It never is. It never is. And this month, you know, I learned to accept that. I tried to listen to the audiobook of The Band by Ma-Kellams. I did not understand the narrative of this at all. Why was it structured that way? Why was it told that way? Why was anything that was happening? I really did not understand the narration and why it was written the way that it was. Maybe it was just the audiobook, but I don't know. I got maybe like 20% of the way through that. And then the most egregious DNF this month was Boys of Alabama by Genevieve Hudson, which I started listening to because it was also narrated by Charlie Thurston, who narrated Road 7, and I liked his narration again, and I was like, okay, should not have done that. It took me a week to listen to half of this book. To get 50% of the way through took me a week. Normally, I finish an audiobook in a week.
I would like to say that this audiobook was 8 hours. It wasn't even like a 20-hour long audiobook. It was 8 hours. And the next book that I'm going to talk about after this, same length audiobook. I finished it in 3 days. So yeah, it was the book's fault. Yeah.
This is about a teenager named Max whose family moves from Germany to small town Alabama, and he joins the football team at his Catholic high school. He meets this like witchy queer boy named Pan, and he's kind of being indoctrinated into Christianity, conservative Christianity, and he also has this power. He can like touch an animal and a dead animal and it'll come back to life. And I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so fun. This is gonna be so good. Angsty, queer in a southern small town, mysterious, like this is gonna be great. Not great. Not great. 1, nothing happened. 2, nothing happened. 3, nothing happened. 4, the religious indoctrination that I was witnessing, I was like, I know there's gonna be a bigger point that's gonna be made about this. I don't want to hear it. This is like upsetting. It was upsetting to read. Like the football team and the judge is he's a judge in the town and he's running for like mayor or governor or something, I don't know. And he, not to say that Christianity is a cult, but he's kind of, the way that they're practicing Christianity, it is a cult, and he's the cult leader in their town. And he is trying to get Max in his clutches, and Max is falling for it. I don't know why it upset me so much, because it was just not like that happens. And like I feel like it could have made a good point, especially because he is not discovering his queerness but coming to terms with it, and then also dealing with the fact that he's kind of magical himself, and then the god is this magical being, and I don't know, it like I think it had potential, but it was so boring. So boring. None of the characters like meant anything. It was not good. And I DNF'd this after 50%. I think it was actually 55. I think I got 55% of the way through this audiobook, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. It was crazy. And honestly, thank God that I put that down, because the next book that I read, Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White, yeah, I listened to this on audio, and then I found myself at Barnes & Noble today on complete accident, and this was here, and I bought it. Yeah. So, Andrew Joseph White wrote Hell Followed With Us, and watching some, what's that other one? The purple one? I really like this one. I liked the other one. What is it called? Oh my gosh, what is it called? I don't know. I liked the other one. I think I liked it less because it was historical fiction, and I don't like historical fiction. But I love this. Loved this. Let me tell you about it. This is about a trans teen named Miles living in West Virginia, and he, oh, okay, let me oh, what are the, okay, I have to like remember everything because again, I didn't take notes on this one and I should have. I wish I did because I love this. It's about Miles and his family, and the family of the local sheriff have been at odds, to put it lightly, for like 100 years basically. They all kind of kill each other. Miles's great grandfather was the union leader for the coal miners in their town, and the sheriff's, or yeah, the sheriff's grandfather or whoever killed him. The sheriff, like his dad was a sheriff, his dad was a sheriff, his dad was a sheriff, you know, like long line of corruption there. And so he killed Miles's great whatever grandfather, and since then the Abernethys, Miles Abernethy, have been, you know, taking revenge against a member of the Davis family, and the Davis family has been taking revenge against the Abernethy family. And this starts with Miles getting brutalized, beat up, assaulted atrociously by the sheriff's son and a few of his friends, and he ends up in the hospital, and it spurs him to take some revenge of his own with the help of one of his childhood friends who he has kind of been out of contact with. Also, this starts because Miles finds picture evidence of the sheriff being responsible for like starting a fire or causing a car accident. At one point I think the car is on fire, that killed the mother of his childhood friend and injured his dad, and sort of stopped their grassroots movement to overturn the sheriff from his role. And that gets out sort of, and then causes the people to beat him up. It was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars, I think. Maybe just 4. I love books set in Appalachia. I don't live in Appalachia. I'm on the other side of Blue Ridge Mountain, so the Piedmont technically, but like we're close. I feel very connected to Appalachia, and this was like so good. This was just incredible storytelling and scene setting, imagery, just like you really felt like you were in it. And who narrated this audiobook? The audiobook was also incredible. Narrated by Danny Martinek. Love you, Danny Martinek. So good. I loved it. And I love like books about gay people. I'm kind of at a point in my life and my reading where I don't want to read books about straight people anymore. I just can't do it. I really can't. I can't. And then especially when you get something so good like this. Oh my gosh, incredible. I'm so excited for Andrew Joseph White. Has like 3 books. He's like, there's the next 3 books listed on Goodreads with plot summaries. Not the whole synopsis, but like a few lines. I think his adult debut is coming out this year. So excited. And then something in 2026, something in 2027. And this came out in 2024. The purple book that I can't remember the name of came out in 2023, and I think Hell Followed With Us came out in 2022. Like, he's been pumping these out. He's only 20. When this came out, in the acknowledgements of this, he said he's 26. Next. This is where things get crazy. This is where things kind of go off the rails, go off the deep end. I reread Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I can explain. I can explain. I have been craving, wanting desperately a sci-fi or fantasy book with romance in it, but not necessarily romantasy, that involves our main character figuring out that they're queer because they are falling for the love interest in the book, set against a fantasy or science fiction world, like with a strong plot. And a lot of people have been posting like niche book recommendation videos this month, and every time on their Instagram they pop up the little question box. I'm like, sci-fi fantasy where the main characters figured out they're queer in the story, and no one has no one has answered my recommendation request, which is fine. Okay, and then I realized that why I was wanting that, and what specifically I was wanting, was Carry On. This is the main character figuring out he's queer because of his interest in the love interest, set against this fantasy plot. it's this. It was this all along. It was this all along. And I read it. Just as good. Not just as good, of course, but like it's always gonna be, I can't think about this book or this series objectively at all. And it was perfect. It was perfect. Exactly what I wanted. So if anyone has any recommendations like this, specifically in the way that I described, doesn't have to be YA. I feel like it's more likely to be in YA, but also like red, white, and royal blue. Alex discovering that he's bi. I just love, like, I'm sorry, I love a coming out story. I think it adds, have I said this? I feel like I've talked about this before, but I think it adds something. It adds angst and tension when like a character is behaving in a way towards the love interest and he doesn't know why, because he doesn't know that he's queer. It doesn't have to be MLM also. Please, sapphic recommendations, highly wanted as well. But also like the angst then of realizing this thing that could ruin your life, that is so deeply personal, and it changes like your whole self, or you unlock and come to learn about a whole new facet of yourself, and there's a high stakes fantasy / science fiction plot, and you're falling in love with this other person. Like, I don't know, I love what it adds, and I want more things like this. So if you have any recommendations, please send them my way. Now we can talk about I reread Wayward Son. I technically finished this on the 1st of the month, but should we include it? Should we include it in May? Can I say that I finished 6 books? Thoughts? 5/6 books. I read the majority of it in May. It was just like 2 a.m. when I finished it on June 1st. Does it count? Sound off. Also 5 stars. Not 5 stars, but it is. And then where are we? What am I in the middle of now? I have yet to start my reread of Any Way the Wind Blows, but I'm going to be reading this and finishing this in June, as well as the audiobook of Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. What? Finally? Yeah, finally. Sometimes I often feel like I have read everything on Libby, listened to every audiobook that I want to listen to, and that doesn't have a 15-month wait. But just the other day, I went to Libby, I filtered by science fiction, and look who it is. No wait at all. Also, I found out my library has 96 copies of it. So that's why there's no wait. You know what Gideon the Ninth is about. I'm like 25% of the way through, so I barely know what it's about. Streets are saying, by streets I mean my coworker, she said she didn't like it. She said it was confusing, and it is confusing, but like it's fine. And also some reviews said that it was like overwritten and didn't need to have all the description that it has, and like yeah, but also actually when I'm listening to an audiobook, I like a lot of description because it means I can like zone out for a few seconds and not miss something crucial to the plot, because she's just like describing the robe that someone's wearing. It's like, okay, you're still on that, great, I didn't miss anything. So if I was reading this physically, I might be bored, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, I'm reading that. Listening to that. It's going, I think, well. And I think I want to end this off with a little book haul. I have a bigger plan for an end of year video where I talk about all the books that I bought in 2025 and if I read them, because I keep being like, oh, I can do a book haul, and then I keep not, and then like a lot of time has passed. So I've been buying books this year, unfortunately, and I thought I'd throw this in now. First, I already said Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White. I would like to say that everything I bought I've either already read, is by an author that I've already read and loved, or was previously on my TBR. So I'm doing good, yeah. Compound Fracture, and then I have Kevin Wilson's newest release, Run for the Hills, which I didn't realize was out yet, but I saw it at Barnes & Noble and I was like, oh my god, it's out. I don't know what this is about. Road trip, I think family road trip in some way. I loved Kevin Wilson's Nothing to See Here and Now Is Not the Time to Panic, which is my favorite of the two. And this is his newest thing. Then I got When Devils Sing by Zan Carr. Oh my gosh, sprayed edges. I kind of am glad. I love that sprayed edges are kind of becoming more the norm now. I think it's very fun. I first became aware of this book when I saw a TikTok the author made, and it's been in my favorites since like last year. And I saw it and I was like, I know that cover. Oh my god, it's Blurred by Andrew Joseph White. Oh, The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. That's what that purple book is called. And this takes place in, I think, a small town in Georgia. I don't know why I said it like that. Oh my gosh, the town is called Carrion, Georgia. I had to change my battery. What was I saying? Carrion, Georgia. Incredible name for a fictional town. And I think it's like a Southern Gothic fantasy. Maybe it's a fantasy. Someone goes missing or maybe gets murdered, and her and a little group have to, maybe they don't have to, but they decide to figure out what happened, solving secrets. There's an urban legend about 3 devils, which makes sense. It's a dark, is it queer? Did I make that up? Maybe it's queer. I was gonna say a dark queer Southern Gothic. Maybe it's not. Who knows? I guess I'm about to see. It's YA, but I like YA. So like, sure, I'm reading it less, but that's because I've stopped like buying YA books, so I've stopped like, I feel like a lot of the audiobooks I listen to are YA still, but I don't buy YA books before I've read them as often. What does that have to do with anything? No, nothing. And then lastly I have Notorious Sorcerer by Davinia Evans. This was the one I asked in the Books and Lala Besties Discord server if anyone had any recommendations for sci-fi fantasy where the main character is discovering they're queer, and someone said this. They said there's not like a ton of romance. The romance isn't like central, which maybe is fine. I don't know, we're gonna see. But this is about a guy who like accidentally does some magic that he's not supposed to be able to do, and then he is catapulted into the limelight, and then he also has to save the world that he's living in. He has to save the town, the city. He has to save the world. I don't know. We're gonna see. We'll see. I hope it's good. I'm in a very fantasy mood apparently, but yeah, I think, Jesus Christ, that is the end. Even though I only read 5 books or 6, I can still talk. I can talk for a long time, and I'm tired of talking, so that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.